Hey guys, this is Miss Bill. We're getting ready to take photosynthesis notes. You have Cornell notes. One side kind of looks like this with a picture of a plant, and then the other side looks like this. So this side will be glued down first, and then this side will be flap glued on top in your notebook. Alright, so TSW, you guys will recognize that radiant energy from the sun is transformed into chemical energy through the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so what I need you to remember is back in 6th grade and even earlier this year in 7th grade, you talked about energy transformations, how a certain type of energy can convert into another type of energy. Okay, and so plants are organisms just like we are. And in order for us to function, we need energy. Okay? The type of energy that we need, it comes from our food. Okay? But the difference between us and animals and a plant is a plant makes its own food. It's called an autotroph because it automatically makes its own food. So keep that in mind. All right? Just as always, I tell you when it's time to write. Only this time you will not see my face the whole time. All right, so what is photosynthesis is your first essential question. Photosynthesis is the chemical process by which plants use light energy from the sun to make glucose or sugar from water and carbon dioxide. Okay, so light from the sun shines down on the plant. The plant takes in water from its roots. It takes in carbon dioxide that we breathe out. And inside, where y'all see in the middle, it says chlorophyll. That's inside the plant leaves. Sugar is being converted, and then oxygen comes out of the plant in which we breathe. All right, so how does light from the sun change? Okay, so this one I forgot to underline before I put it in here, but I gave you clues. So you're going to do radiant energy. I put an R there for you. From the sun changes into chemical energy. So the light energy shines down into the plant, okay? And way deep inside the leaves, magic basically happens. And the result is chemical energy comes out, which the plant uses in order to grow and provide us with oxygen that we breathe. All right, so now let's break it down even further. There are parts that come into play to make up the process of photosynthesis. All right. So your third essential question is, what are the components that make up photosynthesis? So number one is chlorophyll. Okay, this is the part where the magic basically happens. So this is the green substance or pigment contained in the chloroplast of plant leaves that captures the energy in the sunlight. Okay, so the chlorophyll plays a very important role. It's the one that makes the magic happen, so to speak. So it takes that light from the sun, does this little magic, and turns that radiant light from the sun into chemical energy that the plant can use to grow and provide us with oxygen. All right, number two, okay, carbon dioxide. That's what you're going to fill in the blank. Okay, so carbon dioxide. The plant absorbs CO2 from the atmosphere through stoma or stomata, which then reacts with water to produce glucose. And glucose, guys, is a more fancy word for sugar. Okay, so where does the plant get the CO2 from? Well, it gets it from us and animals that breathe it out. We need oxygen we breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide. Okay, so just like the water cycle, everything kind of cycles back into itself. Okay, so the plant gives us oxygen, we breathe out CO2 that the plant can use in the process to make its own food. Carbon dioxide is very, very important. All right, another component is water. The role of water is to release oxygen from the water molecule into the atmosphere in the form of oxygen gas, or O2. So think about the formula for water, H2O. You know that there are two atoms of hydrogen and there's one atom of oxygen. You've probably heard that from as long as you could remember. Okay, so basically during the process of photosynthesis, water is taken up in the plant's roots. Through all that little magic, the oxygen is split off. Once everything gets split away, oxygen is released into the atmosphere. I'm not really delving too much in the specifics of it, guys, because you'll go into more detail in high school. All you need to know is that water plays an important role in this process. It gets more complicated when you get to ninth grade, though. Just letting you know. All right, number 4, sunlight. Mentioned very earlier that sunlight from the sun has that radiant energy, and the plant's going to take that radiant energy, convert it to chemical energy. So the sunlight in the leaves of the plant are very important organelles called chloroplasts. Within the chloroplast are specialized pigment molecules called chlorophylls. Chlorophyll can absorb light and turn into the chemical energy that the plants can use. So basically, again, sunlight goes to the leaves, magic happens, you get chemical energy. I should say science happens. Yeah, science happens, even though science is magic. Anyway, another component that makes up photosynthesis, number 5, glucose. And I told you glucose is a fancier word for sugar. So plants trap light energy with their leaves. Plants use the energy of the sun to change water and carbon dioxide into a sugar called glucose. Glucose is used by plants for energy and to make other substances like cellulose and starch. The cellulose is used in building cell walls. Remember, cell walls give the plant some structure. So you have another diagram of photosynthesis there to look at as well. All right, number 6, oxygen. Remember, we need oxygen to breathe. And what gives us oxygen? The plant does. Okay, what do we give the plant so it can give us oxygen? We give it carbon dioxide, CO2. The plant takes that CO2, splits up that oxygen throughout its scientific process inside the leaves to give us back oxygen. Circle of life, guys. So photosynthesis separates carbon dioxide and water, known as CO2 and H2O respectively, into their individual molecules. So basically it splits up the elements, okay, and combines them into new products. Once the process is done, the plant releases oxygen or O2 into the surrounding air in which we breathe in, okay? All right, your last thing is, what is the equation for photosynthesis? So you guys will need to write this down, this entire formula there, okay? So 6 CO2, so CO2 is carbon dioxide. You have 6 sets of carbon dioxide plus 6 H2O. Basically, that big 6 means you have 6 water molecules, okay? So if I could give you guys kind of a picture, it's not going to be a perfect picture. Let's just say these are CO2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 sets of those. And then, I should have picked a different color, but whatever. All right, and then we have 6 sets of H2O. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? So these two are combined, all right? They go through the process when the light energy shines on the sun, all that, and then you get 6HO plus 6O2, okay? So basically, all these atoms here are going to go through this process, and they're going to come out looking a little different. So this 6O2 is that oxygen that we need to breathe in, and this, guys, here is the sugar that the plant makes for energy. Okay, if you notice, you have the same type of letters on both sides. Okay, and that's very important. This is something that you guys will get into in 8th grade, is looking at equations. But it is very important for testing purposes that you guys recognize this equation, and all you had to do was write down the equation. But that's it, guys. You'll need to summarize what you know about photosynthesis. Just remember 2 main things. Light from the sun, that radiant energy, goes into the plant, inside the leaves, is converted into chemical energy. Radiant to chemical energy. The chemical energy is used by the plant so it can grow and provide our second point, oxygen for us. When we breathe in the oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide so the plant can use, so we can have oxygen. Okay? Radiant energy to chemical energy. The plant gives us oxygen. We give it back carbon dioxide so it can make its own food, which is glucose, aka sugar. Main points. Hope you wrote that down in your summary. Ta-ta for now.